Joining me now to talk more about this ongoing battle, Selene Rodriguez, Policy Director of Secure and Sovereign Frontier at the Texas Public Policy Foundation. How do you see this playing forward, this standoff between the state of Texas and the governor and the federal government over this razor wire?
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me. That's a great question. Moving forward, we are definitely expecting to see that this administration will do what it's going to take to keep them in power, to keep them in after the November elections. I don't expect that they're going to do anything that's actually in the best interest of the public safety of our nation because they haven't up until this point.
The razor wire, what role is it serving right now? And is it working in this particular area and in other spots where we're seeing migrant crossings?
Yes, the wire has proven to be effective. The more we implement, the harder it gets for people to illegally cross into the state of Texas. And that is the goal. We're not doing anything that's not already the law. It's already illegal to illegally enter the country. It's already illegal to be smuggling people into the country. And Texas is asserting that because nobody else has up until now. We've seen that where Texas National Guard is placing the wire, it's forcing people to look for other parts to enter the state. They don't want to have to go through the barriers that we're putting, and that has been effective. And that is why we will continue to put more.
And why not look for ways to work with the federal government on a common solution rather than continue to butt heads over this? And last time it was the buoys in the Rio Grande.
I firmly believe that if this administration came to the state of Texas, to our leaders, and said, we want to secure the border and we want to work with you to do it, we would gladly work with them. The fact is that this government has abdicated its constitutional duty to protect Americans, to protect citizens of the border states. And now we have to step up and say, then we will do it. The fact is that a bill has already been passed in the House. The Senate is playing with that bill. They're watering it down. We need border security. Americans don't want our leaders bargaining on the security of our nation. We need a secure border. We need national security. We don't have that right now, so Texas will continue to do that.
Some Republicans in Congress are also looking to hold Secretary Mayorkas responsible and impeach him. It is unlikely. How might that impact the situation? Does that further stall the talks?
I don't know that that would stall the talks. What I do know is President Biden could put policies in place today that could radically change the situation at the southern border. That's not happening. Whether Congress passes a bill or not, we need a president that's going to come down and say, I take responsibility for the security of this nation. I want to implement policies that have proven to work in the past. That's not being done, but that would go a long way in radically securing the southern border today.
One thing, Selene, one idea that's being floated by a Democratic representative of Congress is the federalization of the Texas National Guard. Do you see that going anywhere?
It's always a possibility. Anything could happen. Something else that needs to be considered is a natural disaster could happen that would call our guardsmen up. Every state should be prepared for the possibility that that might lead. As far as the border security happening in Texas, there's also military rotations that are planned, deployments that are planned. So anything could happen, but the fact is we do need personnel down at the border. More people patrolling and securing the border is never a bad thing. And look, there's no downside to border security. There's no downside to going down there and protecting our borders. And I think that our federal government should be doing everything in its power to work with the state of Texas to do just that.
How is the continued fighting impacting morale of agents who are on the front lines?
Border Patrol agents, Texas National Guard, Texas Department of Public Safety, at the end of the day, they all want the same thing. They all want to do the job that they signed up to do, and that is protecting our nation and protecting our state. It's hard when you have federal policies coming down the pipe that prevent you to do that. I'm from the border, born and raised. I visit very often, and I can say that the morale is pretty low, but they are trying to find ways to work together to do the job that they want to be doing. We need the federal government and the state government to come together to find better ways to do that, to protect our agents and to protect the people that want to come across legally.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.